4:30. Well, it's 4:30, and I thought I would catch a little nap, like a kitten nap, not even a full cat nap, bef- before work, and I guess that is not happening. So it's fine. Hi, anyway. So the energy of the white overtone wizard has been percolating in my brain. Well, actually, when it came out, I kind of had a feeling of what it was, but it feels like it's the culmination of a lot or a few different energies that have been, excuse me, coming through. And instead of recording a short video, hola, Senor Krabs. What? Uh, Instead of doing like a short video, because I didn't want it to post as a short, I was like, I'll go live for a hot second. And see, excuse me, who I am. Tired. Oh, snap. Congratulations. Hopefully, well, I guess if you got it, it doesn't matter how much it was. I was going to be like, hopefully it didn't hit you for too much, but whew, who was that on the flow? So basically, there's been, it feels like it starts with the alchemist and who and what. So it was basically, I was going to make a community post that was like, the optimist sees the opportunity and materials that the alchemist uses to create the whatever, and that is the white overtone wizard. Because there's something about the overtone and the white overtone wizard that it's almost like it, like I want to use the word predestines, but I kind of don't. I do. It's like there's something about the overtone in the white overtone wizard that predestines things. Um, and then it was like it was the optimist that remains open and that sees opportunity and that sees potential, and then the alchemist that creates things that combines things that can steer in a certain almost sense of the word, or not sense of the word, and almost in a certain way. You're fine. That is like the white overtone wizard. So it's the alchemist, it's the optimist, and like that kind of stuff that's been coming up for like the past month or so. Splendor, Solace, Sun Splendor. So I'm just gonna grab, I guess I'm using the archetypes. I'm gonna grab an archetype first, and then I'll do an alchemist uh, for this white overtone wizard energy. Because it was the alchemist that more than just combs the beach for treasure. It was the alchemist that truly transmutes and changes things from one substance into another, more than just the phase change and more than just digging through the rough to find the diamonds. That actually changes things. And then it made me think again of the recognition of self that is yet to be fully realized, and then the beginning of realization, or on the cusp of realization. It had made me think of the five of water that was actually the queen of fire. Um, how in a certain situation or scenario, there is something within the self that comes forward that changes things in a way that is not insignificant. Um, and then in that process, it awakens some knowing of the self at the very least. And again, that's really like white overtone wizard. Excuse me. I guess that would be like the wizard and white overtone wizard. All right, so alchemy. Alchemy. I've seen this card. The vessel and the self. are the two cards that come out. Bottom of the deck is the Destroyer. Kaboom. Excuse me. So the Destroyer at the bottom with the vessel in itself, that's almost, well, it is Shiva, Lord Shiva, which is the tower with the axe of Shiva that removes corruption. But with the Destroyer and the vessel, it feels like, and then there's the animal. And I only pull the animal because you see the eyes of the animal in the Destroyer. With the Destroyer and the vessel, it feels like there's a limitation on the vessel. So it is what the vessel is able to contain or hold, or what a vessel is able to produce. And in the desolation of some kind of concept, and with the opening of whatever comes into that space, it's almost like it's making me think of this, right? And it's like a cut in it that like opens it up, rather than it necessarily being like completely destroyed. But what comes in as a result is like this is that recognition and realization of self. A recognition of the self, excuse me, that is yet to be, what is this? 69 and 29. LXIX. Yep, 50 plus 10. And then the one before the 10, 69. I was just watching a video. I was watching Max, and he talked about the only thing that I remember from math class was the number 69. And then there it is. It's the vessel. Something about the limitations on that vessel being destroyed or relaxed that allows, again, something to happen that for a while or for as brief or as long as a moment, something that was thought to be impossible or highly unlikely happens. And it is the whole in the perception of the self, or the perception of what something is able to contain or produce, that allows for this greater perspective and then this more fully realized idea of who or what the self is to come through and to come forward. So yeah, it's very that 5 of water. And then what other card came out? Because it was death and rebirth, 5 of water, and then death and rebirth. With the, I was like, what's Isis up to? And it's almost like that's why but again, like that's the overtone part of the white overtone wizard, because it doesn't matter what is happening or how likely or unlikely that something is. All right. Alchemical phase, alchemical whatever, and then this is going to be hopefully like subtudes. Well, it's already been 9 minutes. Ooh. Oh, that is quite a few cards. Ooh, I don't know if I want all of them. I've never seen this card before. Number 52. Coerum Terra, Earth's Heart. I've never seen this. I mean, there's probably a lot of cards in this deck I haven't seen because I haven't looked through the cards. I just use them. But yeah, here they are. You see these things off to the side of the Destroyer. It makes me think of Not necessarily the pearl. Maybe these are like dulled pearls around the destroyer, and here's a shiny one in the self because it's been made anew. But this makes me think of those, that layer right there. Now there's like 5 cards that came out. I'm gonna show you what they are. I'm not taking all these. I've I've made the decision that it's too much for today. The first one is Heroes Gamos Alchemical Wedding, which I again love number 60 as part of this. Second one is Kenneth Ash. Third is Jupiter. Oh, look, there's more of them right there. Fourth is Kairos, or Chiron. Chiron is in Aries. Jupiter is in Taurus. The last card is Sulfur. So we got Ash and Sulfur. I think this is, it's almost like, it's the revelation of some kind of truth, but revelation in a way of like it being revealed more so than revelation of like a realization, like, oh, I just had this, I mean, they're the same, but one of them, it's like contextually different. But this feels like, because Heroes Gamos comes in and it feels like it's trying to ignite the ashes. It's trying to ignite the ash to create the phoenix. And then as things are building up with this Jupiter energy, and as it's expanding, and as it's almost like it's precipitating and it's about to happen, then Chiron comes in and things get sulfurous. So now you have like a stinky pile of ash rather than a phoenix. And that's why it feels like this Earth's heart is the revelation of a deep truth. It's like it's what we really feel. It's how we really feel, and it's what we really think. Much farther below, like this is that subterranean, almost plutonium below the foundation, all the way down here. Now, if it's good all the way down there, then this will ignite into the phoenix. And maybe that's what this destroyer is more so talking about. So it'll be almost, it's like how we pick ourselves up from this. Or, because again, it feels like with the energy of everything I've been reading and what the White Overtone Wizard is feeling like without me like really pulling all the way into it. It's like the optimistic alchemist, the White Overtone Wizard would be able to still like kindle this into a flame to become that phoenix. But it feels like otherwise this is something that would just like demotivate and almost sort of crush. It's almost like one of those when we're feeling like we're making progress, right? And then we experience something, going back to the spiral. We experience something and then we're like, oh, well, if I'm experiencing this or if this is happening, then that's indicative of like something that's not happening or something that's not working. And so it's like we get defeated before we even try. It's almost like boot camp esque, where it's like it breaks you down to build you back up, or it's like Greek. It's like what I assume Greek is like when you're going through the pledging process and they like demotivate you and they strip you of like your identity because you are no longer like you are now an extension of the organization that you are seeking to be a part of. And so maybe it crumbles, excuse me, under that pressure, but 442. R.I.T. my nap. It's fine. I'll be fine. Okay. I do want to get another one. We'll get one more. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like, it's feeling like as gorgeous as things have the potential to be, it's like things are about to turn real chaotic. But again, there's the unseen. Um, it just feels like that alchemist and everything that's been coming up would be able to create or find. The optimist would find, the alchemist would create. There's a creator and the destroyer. The creator actually came out recently. It had all the colors and it was like the temple and the crone and some other card. But it feels like that, it's almost like that's the canvas. That's the thing that we have to build off of. That's what we're starting with. But it don't necessarily got to be that way. Bottom of the deck now is the warrior. This is the last one. Oh, 17 minutes. 2 cards again. Oof, well, the puzzle box. We have number 53 and number 44. What? XLIB 44. Let's go. 44 is an 8. 53 is an 8. We got an 8, 8. The box and the riddle. With the warrior again, and then under the warrior is the comic. It's in reverse, but there are no true reversals, and then the animal is there again behind the comic. The box and the riddle is the puzzle box. I mean, it's like life itself becomes a mystery. Oh, this is Ouroboros. The snake and the warrior has the same texture as the triquetra and the riddle. But this isn't your simple Ouroboros that's just one sort of like a circle. This one has configured itself in such a way that almost makes it seem more complex than it is. It's almost not complex. It makes it seem more complicated than it might be, but there is a level of complexity here. Like it is complex, but I feel like it's not necessarily as complicated as the box would have us sort of think. We also do, it's like the maze and the minotaur are here. Like here's the head, the skull of the minotaur. There's the box. And it's almost like if you defeat the minotaur without learning the lesson that the box was meant to teach you, if the box is meant to teach you anything, then it's like the snake crawls out of the skull of the minotaur and it just creates another monster. Then maybe it grows to the size of Jormungandr and starts to wrap around itself, and it becomes the riddle. And but at that point, it's like it becomes the riddle because it wasn't really dealt with at the box. Or it's like the warrior was more focused on doing something or accomplishing something than actually like working through the problem or getting to the root of the issue. Which this could speak of attachment because the Minotaur was the result of Minos being attached to something that he was meant to sacrifice. Something that it's like it was given to him to sacrifice it, but when it came time to sacrifice it, or when it came time to return it, when it came time to let it go, he couldn't. And so then it's Greco-Roman, it's Greek. Then his wife is cursed by a god, probably Eros Cupid, falls in love with the bull and gives birth to the Minotaur. Falls in love with the bull that her husband couldn't sacrifice, and now that is his child. And he hides it in the labyrinth and then demands sacrifice from other people to appease it. So he couldn't sacrifice it, and he doesn't do anything of his own to satiate it. He demands things from others to pay something that is not theirs to pay. So then, yeah, it creates these other monsters. It's like you didn't get to the root of like why this happened in the first place. And then it becomes much more of a riddle. I feel like that's why it's like it is kind of complex, but we overcomplicate it. Because it's this game of like, how can I get away with not doing what it is that is required of me, that I knew was required of me. And now that I have to face the consequences and repercussions of that, how can I get away with having others bear that burden while carrying this like deep secret? This isn't what I was wanting. It's fine. This is what needs to come out today, apparently. Bottom of the deck is Argentum Vivum, which is Quicksilver. The card that came out is Pneuma, Breath. This is 36. Quicksilver is 24. Excuse me. I'll read Pneuma, Breath. It makes me think of Doom Sparrow. While I breathe, I hope. It's a phrase that I learned in my Latin class. What number is this? 36. Not 38. Not 37. Pneuma, Breath. This is inspiration, presence, and life force. There is no more direct way to practice alchemy than to study Pneuma. We all have access to the mystical phenomenon known as the breath. It occurs at every moment, gracing us with the gift of existence upon the physical plane. If alchemy, as is suggested in this book, is the merging of physical and mystical, then this card serves as our ever-reliant bridge. It is the magical within us, the expanding and generating life force that animates our life. This card may appear simple, but it is not. No matter how advanced you are in studying the breath, if you heed the message of this card, you will find it has more to teach. Bow to it at this very moment, and you will discover the work revitalizes itself. New space opens. Pneuma is your lifelong alchemical ally, stating its love with every inhale and exhale. This makes me think of a movie that I watched, of a movie that I watched like 2 years ago. It also makes me think of the Tarot of the Abyss that I haven't used in a hot second. Specifically, it makes me think of the Court of Swords in the Tarot of the Abyss because there's like the labyrinth behind him. But in that, so in the movie, there was a guy who was going through his own he was like going through a rough patch in life because he hadn't accomplished a lot of what he thought he would by that point. And he was getting discouraged because he was in a relationship, and I can't remember if she was like trying to encourage him to like do whatever, but he created the labyrinth. And then at a certain point, it's like the labyrinth took on a will of its own, and it started growing and expanding beyond what he had sort of created it to be. And so as the breath sort of like as the breath is the life force that is constantly expanding, it feels like we're going falling back into that Jupiter expansion that then hits the Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded place. It's the place where I've heard one person say it's like where we give really good advice that we ourselves just can't take for whatever reason. Um, they call Chiron the wounded healer, but it's like it's because of Chiron's wound and trying to treat himself that he became such a good healer. Because he basically is like, I tried everything and nothing worked for me, but now I know it works for everything else. But with Numa in the box and the riddle, it's like the more we grow and expand, and as we continue to live our lives, and it's like the box, the maze continues to grow and expand at the same time. That's why it feels like it never becomes something that's necessarily simple. And that's also why it feels like the more that we continue to live life and experience different things, and the more that especially other things in our lives change, for something to consistently be there or to consistently present challenge or blockage, it becomes this ever more complex riddle. Basically, the longer that it goes without being addressed, the longer that it stays with us, it grows roots, it grows even more, it develops roots and grows even more. It's very much so like a nip it in the bud type of, like it's easier to do that. And it's almost like it comes to the point where it's like, it would have been easier to face the Minotaur than to slay it and then have to deal with whatever crawls out of it and forms this huge thing up here in the riddle, where it's like we see no end to it. No real solution here, huh? Give me a moment. I'm going to grab the Tarot of the Abyss because I don't want to leave it like this. Ooh, I'm pretty sure I know exactly. Hold up, wait, is this? It might be in this drawer over here, actually. Because I feel like I've seen it recently. But it might have just been in that box. It might be in the box. Where's my phone? I need my flashlight. Woo! It's almost. I'm gonna have to go in a second because you gotta go to work. I gotta go to work. Ooh. Are you the Tarot of the Abyss? Nope. I know you're down here somewhere. Here it is, right here. This also makes me. It kind of makes me think of Flusa and the La Fruma, but not really. Flusa feels, even though Flusa doesn't force anything to change, Flusa feels more confrontational to me, meaning like it confronts us. It feels more direct and a lot less passive than being in a situation and then basically being just like taking charge. through all of this, I can definitely see why Cancer season left us with the Tower, the Knight of Wands, and that Three of Swords. All right. Advice question mark for those who navigate the ever-growing box. That fell on the floor. It slid all the way out. Well, no advice, but it is the Nine of Wands, which is almost like I don't know how much more of this I can take. The one who is at the end of the rope, who has been searching these hallways for forever. It's the Ten of Swords. Oh, look at the bottom of the deck. There's the Three of Swords. The Ten of Swords came out / with this knight. And I was just noticing the sword that the person has. And this is the second time, like, apparently there's this intersection between fire and air. I'm trying to think of what's in air signs. Pluto is in Aquarius, Sun, and Venus in Leo. Chiron, in Aries. The North Node just shifted into Aries. I was like, I know I just looked at the cardinal signs. I think Gemini is empty. I think. There's this fire. Well, I guess it's fire that comes with air. It was the Knight of Wands that held the dagger. It's this Nine of Wands that holds the sword. And then the Ten of Swords is here. You can see the 10 swords over here and then this over here. This is the white overtone wizard. This is the alchemist. That is the one who's able to, like, basically at some point take charge in situations like this. And it feels like this Three of Swords is the person, and then the Four of Swords is behind it. Lots of swords. This Three of Swords is the person that in the situation, like, sends out that canary. It sends out that bird, that animal, to either get help, number one, or to find the escape route, number two. And so, but, like, the person has to trust that the animal's going to come back, has to believe it's going to make it, number one, and then either come back, number two, or lead someone back. Very much so, almost a cry for help. And I think that's where we can fall into that sort of delusion. Or that's where we can create in our minds a world of fantasy, I guess. And I know that energy came out recently. I think it was the live before last. It was in the final cards. And it was like, it's the person that sits on the couch, or the person who, like, dreams up this world and reality that they're, like, living in, but in truth, like, none of it is real. It's like it doesn't lead to anything tangible. It doesn't substantiate anything. It doesn't produce anything in the way that the alchemist sort of transmutes and creates and produces things. And so nothing changes. Was that the Twister and the Wizard of Oz? I'm trying to. I know I literally just had it. I just pulled the cards out of the box. I was trying to read the book. But see, because the 10 swords are on the owl, and because owls symbolize wisdom, also because owls can see in the dark, they have really good sight at night. So the dark night of the soul is nothing to owl energy. But the owl, like, unlike the bat that relies on a different sense in order to navigate nighttime, the owl's eyes are so big and the pupils are big enough that it lets in copious amounts of light. Like, more light than other creatures, and that's what helps them navigate so well. It's like, that's why their eyesight is so good, is because they are so sensitive to the light. that they can see it even in times of what may be to others complete darkness. But the owl is also very active. The owl is a bird of prey, and it's silent. Which, I guess if the owl wasn't silent, it wouldn't be as good of a predator as it is. Because it's like, imagine how it having like absolute top tier night vision and you can just go hunt anything at night, but you make so much noise that you wake everything up. And it goes into hiding like you'd starve. And it's not predator versus prey, but it is like, there's something about moving through whatever. I feel like this is not going to give me the. I mean, at a certain point, like, we just got to do it, it's almost coming out, at least over here. And I'm not the only reader. I'm like, if this don't resonate for you, don't take it. Here's the box. But it's seeming really like it's just that point where we have to do something. Being spurred into action was the entry under realization of self, a revelation of self that is yet to be realized. Realizing, like, the revelation is the epiphany, is the thought, is the idea, is that aha moment. The realization of self is like living it, being it, like bringing that into reality and navigating things in a way that causes some stuff to play out differently. It's the power of presence. Excuse me. We'll look at this 10 of Swords. There's the 4 of Swords. Let's see, do they have both entries? Nope, not the traditional version. The alternative card. For those who read numerologically, I've again provided an alternative version of the 10 of Swords. This variation considers the 10 of Swords and its association with the decad. Therefore, it represents the realization and completion of mental progression, going full circle. However, in this case, it is viewed in a positive manner, as an increase in mental power and knowledge, as opposed to a loss of mental power and depletion. It's all about mastering the element of swords, air and mind, and learning from all that you've experienced. There is a reason why we look up to our elders for wisdom and guidance. They have seen more moons and suns, and if they have walked wisely, they are further along on the path of life. The owl is an ancient symbol of wisdom. It locks stairs with the old sage, the years clearly etched within his features, for they are the many paths that his soul has taken and represent the footprints of time. The man is a figure full of thoughtfulness and intelligence, and he meets the gaze of his totem equal in spirit and wisdom. Ooh, snap! And then we get that Hyros Gamos alchemical wedding. I am going to pull the Fruma because that read, first it reads, it's not, yeah, it's Wackened. Animal Watcher Totem. It also, Flursa, kind of sort of came out. The energy of Flursa was almost here, but this feels, again, it feels like there isn't necessarily something that forces us to take some kind of action. It's almost just like we're supposed to have that moment where enough is enough. And we do the thing that we know we need to do, rather than continuing to try to substitute it with something else or continue to try to find a way of going around or skirting around what that thing is. Or rather than being stuck in grief and senses of powerlessness and just submitting ourselves over to things being unchangeable. All right, but from a healing oracle deck, Let your healing power shine. If there's anything that can be done or said rather than Nike, just do it. Goddess of victory. All right, La Forma. Woo, goodness. Yeah, I gotta go. Hey, how you doing, David? Of course, it's Swelgeness, the past. Something came over. It's touching the Argentum Wewum, Quicksilver, Rasa in reverse. Explore and alchemize. Alchemize, but it came out in reverse. 36. Iga Shalmer, Helm of Awe with Numa, Breath. Yeah, but with Rasa in reverse and Swalgeness upright, it's because we don't explore in truth and alchemize the past that we continue to face like monster after monster after monster. It's like if you get past, like you slay the Minotaur and the snake crawls out of its skull and then it grows into the monster that is in the riddle. And if you solve the riddle, but you still don't address at the heart of the box, the core issue, see, that was the Earth's core or the Earth's heart. It's like, it's the root problem. It's the root cause. It's the root issue. As long as it continues to remain unaddressed, it'll just continue to manifest in more complicated ways. It's like it's reading as something that we never outgrow because it grows as we do. And as long as we don't face that past, it will continue to do so. And then Igus Homer is here. It's like we seek to be shielded from it. We seek to be made oblivious or unaware or try to get to the point where it's like it didn't happen but it creates this lingering nagging. Hey, Coach of Harmony, how you doing? It creates this lingering nagging feeling. It's like it grows as we do as long as it remains unaddressed. Nothing is, I guess here in the Ten of Swords, it's to be made wise by the things that we've gone through and to meet our totem animal with the wisdom, with the power, with the whatever it symbolizes, rather than to lean on it to do something for us. Because apparently, I don't know if they're on break or if they're just like in a more supporting role rather than in more active, like, I'll take care of this. Like, because that's the Eigershomer. Eigershomer's like, oh, I'll take care of this. I'll handle it. I'll deal with it, to the point where we never learn to really deal with or do anything ourselves. So, hey, Eve, how are you doing? This is not giving me what I guess I was really hoping it would just be like one of these. Or be like, yeah, not everything's gonna be great, but I guess that's the point, right? I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna put these back. Oh my gosh, it's 5:10. I really gotta go. So I'm not even gonna get like a full final. I'm just gonna give these a few shuffles and pull off the top because I can't be late. But I guess again, it's one of those things where It's not that it isn't meant to be easy, but it's just like we're meant to do something. The wizard isn't the wizard because everybody else casts the spells and does all the magic, you know. And even a spirit wizard has some kind of part to play. A spirit wizard being a wizard who petitions spirits to do things on their behalf. I don't know. So I did. I started it last night. And so I'm supposed to be at work in 50 minutes. And I still gotta get ready. This is the card that we had last time. Gutton, resolve. But again, it's like resolve is coming out. There's the resolve that is to bring something to a solution, but there is resolve where it's like it's a determination and a dedication that we have towards seeing something accomplished or brought to resolution. And without that resolve, then it's like without that resolve, then everything is limp. It's weak. It fails. It falls short. It doesn't. It's like we don't project it out, so it doesn't really mean anything. Bottom of the deck is sigil, which is again, it's bringing us that life force. That's the straw that I saw on the ground outside of Casey's. When we're connected to that life force, then when we speak, when we do something, that's when things matter. That's when things begin to move and change. That is that alchemist. But it's also probably difficult to do as long as we allow things to remain unaddressed or don't claim what is for us to claim. Yeah, I know. I'm like, woo! It's not going to take me long to get ready, though. I have a uniform. Well, I have shirts. I have uniform shirts. No problem. That's what I'm hoping, at the very least. Because it's like it's almost seeming a little unforgiving, but I guess it isn't really. And especially, like, I feel like that's one of the pitfalls of like spiritual YouTube / TikTok, or just like things in general. When we start to claim and proclaim ourselves to be certain things, and then the universe, the divine is like, well, if like you claim to be something, we will treat you as such, right? Like we're all master manifestors and alchemists and chosen ones and this and that. But when like things get real, when someone's like, help me, chosen one, you're my only hope. And you're like, whoa, I'm just some dude from backwater Mississippi. You know what I mean? And it's like, where did all that, like you said you were wise salt, sal sapiente. I guess it's gained by experience. Bottom of the deck is Veneris, which is Venus. Wise salt is number 28. Venus is number 4. Venus is she a retrograde right now? It's interesting. She's retrograding. She went retrograde Leo as soon as the sun went into Leo. So Venus wasn't really about that. She wasn't really about that. The sun is like, oh, I'm here. And she's like, oh, just kidding. That's because Mars left her. I told y'all in that reading alone, it came out in the Magic the Gathering cards before the planets even transited. Venus was feeling some type of way. She went to Mars because Mars was the one that never rejected her. And when she was already feeling low and then got rejected by the one who never rejects her, it causes her to look at herself in some type of way that is deep and meaningful. Mars is in Virgo. Mars is about to be Mars is going to be moving through the zodiac while Venus is playing catch up because Mars got his time with Saturn. And that was like through aspects with Saturn. It wasn't even a conjunction with Saturn. It was through aspects. At least in Patrick astrology. Your Venus is in Leo? Oh, snap. My Venus is in Aries. Fire sign Venus is. Whoop, whoop. All right, well, no, now for me. Come on, we got to wrap this up. My mama going to be like, What are you doing? You got to be at work. The gym. That was at the heart of the. It's almost like the box with the thing that was in the middle of the box, Earth's heart. Like that is the thing that creates the labyrinth, that creates the box, that creates the maze. And as long as that is powering the maze, it will continue to grow and expand and expand. And so it's like you went into the labyrinth thinking that you were supposed to slay the Minotaur and that would solve everything, but you didn't remove the gem from its pedestal. The labyrinth is still growing. It'll keep spawning and creating monsters until you remove the thing or handle or address the thing that is at its core that continues to power it. Bottom of the deck is the one, but it almost feels like the one is missing. I've never really seen it that way before because the self was so present and the self was there, but it's like the one is gone. Maybe the gem, the labyrinth, the monsters in it are all waiting for the one that is brave and pure of heart and blah 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 to come in and to like handle it, to fix it, face it, resolve it. All right. And then this deck. Woof. Oh, all right. Was that Josie? Don't you know that I'm the one? I don't know. I've seen the movie enough, but I don't enough. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times. Once or twice. Definitely not 3 times. I think twice. But maybe only once. All right. Do 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 do. There we go. Do 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 do. Doom 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 doom. 2 cards. Bottom of the deck is the Hermit. This does. Oh gosh. The Hanged One and the 10 of Wands. Oof. Well, there's the Hermit. The Hermit feels like the one that just wanders and wanders and wanders the maze. Maybe they become really great at like navigating the maze and they become really smart about how to like whatever, but they're still in the maze. They still haven't found a way to escape it. The Hermit has found the snake that came out of the skull of the Minotaur. And like I guess here it's still tiny at the very least. It hasn't grown into a giant Jormungandr sized mess, but like there's something about this hermit that is almost a little ragged. It's like it's feeling like this hermit doesn't have the same wisdom that the Ten of Swords did. Just in this. And then we have the Hanged One with the Ten of Wands. It's because it's like a battle weariness, where it's like this hermit has basically given up on. It's almost like the hermit has been in the box for so long that they don't think that, like maybe there was a point in time where they were doing things to get out of the box, but now it's just like they sort of accepted it as is. Like there's nothing outside of the box. The best we can do is like learn to thrive inside of it or try to. I mean, at the very least, it seems like it's good at solving or nipping things in the bud, but it doesn't like this doesn't become Ouroboros Jormungandr size problem, but it doesn't really solve it or resolve it either. It's like it catches it, but it doesn't take the gem. The gem. It doesn't remove the thing. We don't even see the person in this Hanged Man. This is just like the card from their perspective. That's the world from the hangman's perspective through the eyes of the hangman. We see this 10 of wands though. It's tired, you know. Oof. All right, well, I guess there are multiple ways of approaching things. And it makes me think of that 5 of swords that's just like, I'm going to walk away. Just like, you know what? I'm done. We're done. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that you are navigating this a lot better than what I read. And I hope that you can tap into the wisdom of everything that your path has brought you through up until this point. I hope you can see where and how it's meant to help further you along and how it's meant to help get you beyond whatever you may think of as inescapable or just a part of life or whatever, rather than almost like it's like a Stockholm syndrome, a stockholder syndrome. I mean, I guess it could be a stockholder syndrome when like we feel that we've invested in something. We've invested too much to just like walk away or to end things or whatever. Anyway, thank you. I'll try. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not alone on the weekends yet. So, all right, I will catch y'all next time I catch ya. Bye. Do the things, say the stuff, be the awesomeness, and put all that knowledge into play. Create wisdom, continue walking paths, and don't give up. Remain hopeful, retain hope, but put some action behind it, you know? Make that hope like stretch, like let it do stuff for you in the real world.